It happened so fast that no one in the lobby had time to react. 1 second, a tired single father was standing quietly at the front desk of his own hotel, holding his young daughter's hand. The next second, a sharp slap echoed through the room, and his face turned red with shock. Guests froze. His daughter gasped, and the woman who had just slapped him, the hotel's female manager, stood there trembling with anger, believing she had just put a nobody in his place. What no one knew was that this moment would change everything. And in just 9 minutes, kindness, patience, and truth would turn power upside down. Before we begin, if stories like this move your heart and remind you that kindness still matters, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. This is Storyverse, where real emotions meet powerful lessons. The man's name was Daniel Carter. He was 36 years old, a widowed father of a 6-year-old girl named Lily. Life hadn't been gentle with him. After losing his wife to illness 3 years earlier, Daniel had learned how to be both mom and dad. He packed lunches, braided Lily's hair as best he could, and read bedtime stories even when exhaustion weighed heavy on his bones. That morning, Daniel and Lily had arrived at the hotel after a long overnight flight. Lily had a mild disability that made long walks painful, and Daniel had politely asked if they could check in a bit early so she could rest. He wasn't demanding. He wasn't rude. He spoke softly, even apologetically. But the front desk staff didn't see a caring father. They saw worn clothes, tired eyes, and a man who didn't look important. The manager, a woman named Karen, approached with irritation already written across her face. She accused Daniel of trying to scam the hotel. When he calmly explained that he was the owner and had come unannounced to observe operations, laughter broke out behind the desk. Karen didn't believe him. In front of guests, staff, and his daughter, she raised her voice. When Daniel asked her to lower her tone because it was scaring Lily, something snapped inside her. She slapped him. Lily screamed and clung to her father's leg. The room went silent. Daniel didn't shout. He didn't raise a hand. He knelt down, hugged Lily, and whispered that everything was okay. He stood back up, touched his cheek, and simply said, "This is not okay." Karen sneered and told security to escort him out. But Daniel didn't move. Instead, he calmly pulled out his phone. He made one call. For 9 long minutes, Karen paced, convinced she had defended her staff from a troublemaker. The employees whispered, some uneasy, others smug. Guests exchanged uncomfortable glances. Lily sat quietly in a chair, holding her stuffed rabbit, watching adults forget how to be human. Then the elevator doors opened. 3 executives stepped out, followed by a regional director. Their expressions were serious, their pace urgent. The lobby manager rushed forward, confused. They walked straight past her and stopped in front of Daniel. "Mr. Carter," one of them said, lowering his head slightly. "We're so sorry." Karen's face drained of color. Daniel wasn't just any guest. He was the majority owner of the hotel chain. A man who had built his company from nothing after growing up in foster care. A man who believed deeply that kindness was not a slogan, but a responsibility. The director asked quietly if Daniel was hurt. Daniel shook his head. Then he looked around the lobby. He didn't shout. He didn't insult anyone. He asked one question. Did anyone here think to ask why a father with a child might need help? No one answered. Daniel then explained who Lily was. How she struggled with pain. How all he asked for was compassion. He spoke calmly, but every word carried weight. He turned to Karen and the staff and said, "Power without kindness is cruelty." In that moment, he made his decision. Karen was terminated immediately, but Daniel didn't stop there. He asked for reports, security footage, and guest complaints. The truth came out quickly. This behavior wasn't new, it was a culture. Within minutes, the entire front desk team was dismissed. But then Daniel did something no one expected. He turned to the guests and apologized. He offered refunds, free stays, and personally checked in families who had been waiting. He picked Lily up and smiled at her. Then he addressed the remaining hotel employees. "If you stay," he said, "you will lead with kindness. Not because it's good for business, but because it's right." In the weeks that followed, Daniel transformed the hotel. He introduced empathy training. He hired people who had once been judged unfairly. Single parents, veterans, People who knew what it felt like to be overlooked. The hotel didn't just improve. It thrived. And Lily, she grew up watching her father choose patience over anger, grace over revenge. Years later, Daniel would say that the slap hurt less than the silence of those who stood by. But what healed him was knowing that kindness, when practiced with courage, can change systems, not just moments. So the next time you see someone tired, struggling, or asking for help, remember this story. You never know who they are. But more importantly, you always know who you are. Choose kindness. Spread it. Live it. Because one small act of compassion can rewrite an entire story.